We all make mistakes every once in a while. Learn from your mistakes is what one is usually comforted with after messing something up. Some mistakes, however, can be found to be quite expensive, costing even billions of dollars, or could be even worse with lives at risk. Architecture and construction are some of those fields where even a minimal inaccuracy can end up calamitous. In today's video, we will be showing you the most expensive mistakes of the world. Without further ado, let's begin. Tacoma Narrows Bridge in Washington. In the state of Washington, USA, spanned across the Tacoma Narrows Strait. A twin suspension bridge known as the Tacoma Narrows Bridge was built in 1940. During its time, it was the third largest suspension bridge and the very first cable suspension bridge to incorporate a series of plate girders as roadbed support. The entire overall construction cost was estimated to be around $6 million, and considering today's value with inflation, it is equivalent to $1 billion. However, the bridge that all that money was spent on lasted only 4 months and 7 days. Due to engineering flaws in dangerous winds, the bridge would dangerously buckle and swaying could be seen even with normal winds. On the day of its collapse, the speed of the winds was about 19 meters per second, and primarily due to aeroelastic flutter. Both halves of the bridge twisted in opposite directions, causing it to collapse into the river. Fortunately, no human life was harmed. This engineering flaw became a popular topic to date, and post-investigation brought in a new theory for construction: Wine Theory Oscillations. The Aon Center. The Aon Center, built in 1974, known back then as the Amico Building, is one of Chicago's tallest structures today. Initially, the structure was an architectural wonder to the city. A simple, rectangular, tubular steel frame structure. What made it stand out was its cladding, with Carrara marble imported from Tuscany, making it the world's largest marble-clad building. But this beautiful and distinct feature in the building facade began to form numerous cracks due to the material being very thin, making pieces of the slab detach and crash down below as well. This led to the structure having a makeover in the 1990s, with the marble being replaced with a more suitable granite, though at a very high expense. The construction mistake ended up being worth a whopping amount of $80 million. The Walkie Talkie turns Walkie Scorchy. 20 Fenchurch Street is a commercial structure in London nicknamed the Walkie Talkie due to its unusual shape. Completed in 2014 and costing over £200 million, the expensive skyscraper revealed itself to be an expensive construction mistake. The building's glass facade and its radian resulted in the structure being an enormous concave mirror reflecting sunlight onto the street in front for about 2 hours a day. Due to the extreme heat of about 72 degrees Celsius, there have been reports of cracking tiles, charred carpets, and melting of paint and even cars. These incidents brought another name to the tower, the Walkie Scorchy. A sunscreen was placed across its curved face to reduce the glare, but fixing this architectural mistake cost about £10 million. You might have heard of a building so ugly that it hurts your eyes, but you've probably never considered a building that can melt a car. The funny-looking building on 20 French Church Street had to shell out some extra funds for some protection after complaints that it had melted parts of a man's Jaguar that was parked across the street. Sydney Opera House. Sydney Opera House. The Sydney Opera House is adored across the globe, but even though you can't tell from the look of it, it ranks as one of the world's failed projects in terms of planning as well as construction. The structure was supposed to be completed in 4 years with a budget of $7 million Australian dollars, but instead took 14 years and a total cost of $14 million Australian dollar. Along with this, the Opera House ended up becoming a place where the musicians couldn't hear their music due to acoustical flaws as well as improper planning. The Opera House and stage production halls somehow were switched and housed wrong, leading to another high expense of nearly 300 million Australian dollars to rectify the acoustics. Sangsu Bridge collapse. In 1994, the central section of the Sangsu Bridge, located in Sewell, collapsed into the Han River, costing the lives of 31 people. The bridge was designed to take on a load of 36.3 tons per car, but vehicles of 47.3 tons would commute using the bridge as well. with the bridge taking on extra load combined with an engineering flaw discovered in certain joints post-investigation. It cost the State Council $185,000 to compensate for the lives tragically lost along with $2 million worth of repairs. Later on, it was also discovered that a couple of repairs and scheduled maintenance were not followed through. Lotus Riverside disaster. Lotus Riverside is a residential complex located in Shanghai. In 2009, one of the 13-story buildings collapsed, missing its neighboring structures that could have caused a domino effect. Though most people evacuated in time, the life of one construction worker was lost that morning due to the fall. The cause of the collapse was found to be due to shoddy foundations, as well as non-compliance construction standards that also had the developers accused of sacrificing quality for quicker payments. The developers faced losses of up to $30 million as compensation to the homeowners, as well construction expenses. NASA, Lockheed Martin, and the metric versus standard system. In 1999, Mesa lost a $125 million satellite in a classic case of miscommunication. Engineers at Lockheed Martin used the imperial system, inches, feet, miles, etc., when calculating the coordinates of a communications station, while Mesa used the metric system, centimeters, meters, kilometers, etc. This caused the Mars orbiter to miss its mark, burn up its engine in the atmosphere, and disappear forever. The struggle between competing measuring systems is one most are familiar with. In this case, a small error ended up costing this team of engineers big. They flung an expensive satellite out of orbit, lost in space, likely orbiting the sun. If there's a silver lining, it's that the team will likely never repeat the mistake. Spain nearly built a submarine that couldn't resurface. In 2013, the Spanish government pumped $2.2 billion into a fancy new submarine dubbed the Isaac Pearl. Before they finished building the vessel, engineers noticed a serious problem in the design. The unfinished submarine was already so heavy, it risked not being able to re-emerge after submerging itself underwater. Concerned engineers were able to trace the mistake back to a simple calculation error. When drafting the design, someone put a decimal point in the wrong space. Fortunately, the mistake was caught before they completed the submarine, and they were able to salvage the submarine by extending the length of the hull. Man throws away 7,500 bitcoins in 2009. In 2009, few saw the way cryptocurrency would take off in the coming years. Unfortunately for James Howell, he was not one of the few blessed with foresight. Shortly after acquiring 7,500 bitcoins when they were worth very little, Mr. Howell spilled coffee on his computer. He salvaged and sold most of the parts and got all the information he thought he'd need off of the hard drive. The hard drive sat in his drawer for years before he threw it away during a move. When he realized his mistake, and after seeing the way Bitcoin had taken off, he began searching for the lost hard drive in the city dump. To make matters worse, the Newport City Council barred him from continuing the search due to concerns about the environmental impact of disturbing potentially hazardous waste. Bitcoin peaked when it hit $19,783 in December 2017. This means that Howell essentially threw away $148 million. So guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. For more interesting content, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more awesome content. Have a nice day, and I will see you in the next video.